That's nice. Good, you know. It's very good. But it's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. More down. A little less than that. A little less.
That's right. Probably pretty
Yeah.
good right there.
Okay.
So I'm not getting any audio.
Oh, I
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, the instructions are to click it at 9:30.
Oh, I know. I did. Okay.
Yeah, so I
can see and hear you.
Yeah, you guys are in now.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, pretty good. How you guys doing tonight?
Pretty good, pretty good. Yeah.
Well, I only see my screen. But we're down there.
Yeah, we're all
So, how's the weather out there in Pittsburgh?
It's chilly. It's like what, low 30s right now?
Yeah, it's been for a bit. Kind of finally warming up to the 50s on a couple days.
Yeah, we've got some coming down the pike.
Yeah, we got up to about 60 today here in Kansas City, which has been a treat. We've been down in the 40s, but I think we're getting some colder weather coming in again next week.
Oh, we're gonna get your weather here in a couple of days. Son.
Yeah. Well, you can keep it. I'll take the 60-degree weather. But so tell us a little about yourself, about the band.
Is Ginger around, or is she not around?
Uh, she was supposed to. Hang on, let me see. She was supposed to be joining with us.
Yeah. I wonder what's up. She
I think
said.
she would join exactly 9:30. So I think she's waiting
Yeah,
for
yeah.
9.
She's waiting probably till exactly 9:30 to join.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that could be it too. Uh, responded to the message, so yeah. So yeah, she might be joining us here in a couple minutes. Uh, football fans at all?
Super, what'd you say?
Are you guys football fans at all?
You know,
Okay.
it's so funny. I'm like the wrong. Of course, I'm a Steeler fan, but I don't. No, I actually don't.
I'm probably the biggest football fan out of the three of us, but I'm not from originally, so
Yeah, he's
I'm a fan of the dark side. I'm from the Midwest, so.
I got you.
But hey, it's you guys are the ones that are got the good stuff going on right now.
Oh yeah.
Pittsburgh and Kansas City. So.
Hey, yeah, Pittsburgh and Kansas City. Yeah, Pittsburgh took one on the chin last night, but yeah, they've been playing pretty good ball this year. So
Against the Ravens?
No, they
Was
lost. They lost against the Washington football team.
yeah.
yeah, it was a pretty big shocker for them to lose to them guys.
Is that what they're called now? No longer the Reds.
Yeah, there's a.
What?
Yeah, they're actually in the process of rebranding, and so they didn't have a name for this year, so they're just the Washington football team. So
Oh, there you go.
it was long overdue that they rebranded the team, anyways.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was going to happen.
Well,
Yeah.
as of a couple years ago, their owner was flat out against it, and but I think the times have changed now to where that needed to be done.
What? I don't get
Oh god.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a team in DC too. I mean, well, I guess there were Native Americans there too. I guess, but they were all wiped out. I
Dear God.
guess none of them left. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Let me let me switch over here.
Exactly 9:30.
She's probably gone right now. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think about sports. Like I wouldn't have enough time to do music.
Yeah.
It's just I have to make hard decisions on what to do. I mean, I guess I could cut other things out of my life and then have time to watch sports.
Yeah. And that is part of the reason why I started doing this is to take some of the workload off of musicians. Because if they try to do all this by themselves, then I mean, you just have no time for anything else. If you're doing your own marketing and you're
Yep.
trying to practice and write and all that stuff, you just run out of time completely.
Yeah. I mean, of course, you got regular work and things that you earn money, and you just cram everything else. It's like, yeah, and I guess I knew musicians before. Bit by bit, they play less music and they take up other things in their lives, and it's just, I guess, a choice that they have.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, music's too important. I really couldn't give a shit whether it's funny because my dad, he would say like, the ball goes one way and then it goes the other way. It just, it's like he never really got the point behind. Um, Professional sports. I love watching hockey though. I like going to hockey games.
Yeah, you play too.
Yeah, and I play hockey, so I enjoy that.
Right on. Well, Ginger was here, and then I tried to add her, and oh, there she is. There
There
we
you are.
go. There we go. We were kind of just chit chatting, waiting on you. How's everything going tonight?
Good. Sorry, it took me a second to get in there.
It's not a problem. Not a problem at all. Like I said, we were just chit chatting.
So hey, are John and Abby there?
Yeah, they're here. Yeah, they kind of in the middle of a screen here. We got a three-way split going on here. So I asked them a question, but they wanted to wait for you to get here. Tell us a little bit about the band. I already told everybody that you guys were nominated by Radio Wigwam for Song of the Year, so you can start from there.
Ginger, you
Go ahead, Ginger.
Oh, okay.
They're waiting on you.
They were waiting on me to answer that. Okay. So our song "Shoes" has been nominated by Radio Wigwam for Song of the Year. Which, I mean, it's exciting, and it is 2020. So I'm not sure how I feel about being nominated for the Song of the Year for 2020. But no, it's we're definitely very pleased about the nomination. Super excited about it, and they're supposed to have the award show this coming Saturday, and the 12th. And so anyway, we'll see what happens. It's cool.
Well, don't other than having the 2020 on the award, but don't take that lightly because there's been a lot of music created this year because there's been a lot of time for music to be created this year. So being put up for Song of the Year is actually quite an honor in 2020, even though it is 2020. So
Yeah, no doubt.
Don't look slight on the award.
Yeah, I tell you, I've been very active on social media this in 2020, and I am really just astounded by how many bands are out there, how much music is being produced. And how good it all is. There's some really good stuff that's out there by bands that nobody's heard of. So.
And that's exactly why I started doing what I'm doing is because I was just sitting around one day and I was like listening to the radio and it was the same 7, 8, 10 bands being played over and over again. I'm like, and I love live music. stop anywhere and listen to live music. I don't even care what genre it is. I love music, and I was like, there's just so many great bands out there that people have just never heard of, and I wanted to give you all a voice to be able to connect with a larger audience. And from the feedback that I've been getting from a lot of bands and singers, is they've been really impressed with that. And as crappy of a year as 2020 was with the pandemic and stuff, it also opened the broader range to show the importance of the social media for the music industry, because that's how people are consuming the music nowadays.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's how we're getting out there, right? That's how we're
yeah.
connecting with an audience is through the social media platforms and the streaming platforms, and thanks to you and people. And there, I didn't realize until 2020 that there were so many people, like you, that are just lovers of independent music and want to support it. And so, like, I've met really cool people, and I've seen some of them comment on your site, like Three Man Blight,
Hmm.
and Ben Blackett Music,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
those guys, What's Happening Music, and so many that are out there that have a true love for supporting independent music, getting folks that are out off the main beaten path a platform to be heard.
Exactly. And I've partnered with a lot of those people. Me and Mike from Three Blind Blight are real good friends, and as well as Ben Blackett. You well, if you ever watch my daily streams, I'm always tagging them in it, and yeah, we support one another, and that's what I wanted to do, was kind of build a community for everybody to one, support one another, and then plus use that platform and everybody's audience to find new bands. I mean, you never know. I mean, when you're gonna when you're gonna hear a song that you're like, wow, these guys are really great. Why aren't they being played on the radio? Well, because they don't have a recording contract and they don't have buku bucks being pushed behind them to be put on the radio, for one. So, and it's worked out really great.
Thanks to you for doing
Well, it's
that.
not just me. There's a lot of people out there that help out with indie musicians, and a lot of great people. There's some people out there that try to con you guys too, and so don't ever pay for promotion, because there's if you need help, just DM me and I'll hook you up with a ton of people that can help promote you, and they do it just for the love of the music. So please don't pay for the promotion.
Hmm.
Actually, I recently got nominated for an indie award myself for Media of the Year for indie, and
Nice.
they're going to be doing the voting for that in January. So we'll see how that goes. There's a lot of good artists and stuff there.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. And I had a I just did a radio interview with them last week, and I'm waiting for them to put it out on their podcast so I can get it tweeted back out, so everybody who missed it had a chance to listen. But that's mainly what they were interested in, was my how I do the promotions and stuff for the indie bands, and help with the suggestions of getting your all's music out there to people. So, do you got how much touring outside of Pittsburgh area have you guys actually done?
None. None.
None,
None.
none yet.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I say yet because it's coming. All right, we're gonna cross your fingers that by summer, hopefully everything's back to normal. We can get out there, get some live shows going on, get everybody back out on stage, start getting festivals and stuff going again. So I'm got my fingers crossed, hoping for summer. I'm not going to shoot any earlier than that because I don't want to be disappointed. But hopefully by end of May, June timeframe, we can start getting people back out there on stage.
Yeah, I don't really want to take a risk with that. we're going ahead and reserving a stage in one of our parks at it's called Flagstaff, and we're going to
Okay.
have about 5 concerts the rest of the summer, and
Oh,
we're
right
going
on.
to invite Pittsburgh bands, happy bands from outside of Pittsburgh to come and perform. And so we'll just do our own thing. We did that last September. We had our own concert in the park, and and what that was like, we can just keep doing this whether it happens or not. I think there's still going to be pent up demand, and chance. There's still half a chance that people won't cross that mental barrier, that mental line they need to in order to feel like they want to go out again.
Yeah, I mean,
You know, yeah. So I
even once they start rolling that vaccine out, you're going to have people that don't want to take it at first, and then it's going to be a gradual process, and after a year of being shut up inside your homes and stuff, people are going to be a little bit iffy about going out to major events like that. So yeah, I get where you're coming from. That sounds like a great plan. I did a interview with a band from Cleveland a couple weeks ago who were were kind of in the same boat. They were just they're kind of just waiting back and kind of seeing. Have you guys been doing any live streams at all or anything like that?
Yeah, we did.
We have some we have some plans to possibly do that in the works.
Yeah, and we recorded a couple of things, and we had them on the show. There was a charity that we did. Um, I personally, I don't get too excited about that. Um, I'm really looking forward to these 5 shows that we're going to have. I'm just focusing on that. I guess if other things pop up, we'll do them. But these outdoor shows, I think, are going to be the key for us.
And I can completely understand that. I mean, because as a musician, well, even as a fan of music, there's nothing like a live performance. I mean, as musicians, you guys need the audience to feed off of, and when you're doing a live stream, you're just singing to a camera. It's not the same. Um, the only thing that I was talking to some people, and they were kind of on the fence about the live streams and stuff, and I was like, they are a smaller audience, but that's also a place where if you want to try new things, that's the perfect place to try new things because you only have you got a perfect test audience there, and you try your if it doesn't work for there, it's probably not going to work for a bigger show. But if it slays there, then you can go ahead and try to incorporate it into your larger act when you get back on stage.
Sure.
But the I just can't believe this was such a wasted year
Yeah,
in some aspects, but then
for sure.
in other aspects, being able to sit down and do the writing and actually be more creative. You had more time to do that now because you weren't having to travel for gigs and things like that. You had that time for the creative process. Um, so do you guys write your own music? Obviously, who in the band is it a collaborative effort, or do you have a main songwriter, or how does that process work for y'all?
I come up with a lot of the stuff. I don't write the other people's material. I mean, there are some bass lines that I've written, but right now we just kind of I come up with some riffs and we come up with some ideas and edits, and I make it like a demo song. I also write the drums for now at this point because we don't have a dedicated drummer, and um, and then yeah, we just kind of piece it together. Every rehearsal, we just work on the songs. We play them a couple times. We think about a couple of things, and just build up every time.
Yeah, there's definitely an additive kind of quality to the way that we collaborate. Come, show up to rehearsal with some ideas and kind of forming them as needs be until we get a nice finished project.
But that would be great when Taylor comes back because we really liking the vocals.
Ginger, you look like you wanted to add something here.
Well, I just want to say, John, lean over behind Alexis. I can't see you.
Is it because you have me?
Oh, no, because she's on the tri-screen, so you don't see all three of us right now.
Yep.
No,
You're
always see.
all I see is Alexis.
Let me move out. Maybe you guys can move in a little bit.
Yeah, like get crowded.
There we go. There we go. We got some more faces coming in here. Before we go too far, I mean, we know obviously Ginger. She has her name up there. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves and tell us what instruments you play in the band?
I'm Alex and I play guitar.
I'm John, saxophone.
I play the bass.
Right on.
Player.
Okay. And you guys said you don't have a dedicated drummer right now.
No, right now we don't. We actually have someone who I don't ask him to play until we've got some dates solid because he just wants to play live. He doesn't have interest in just practicing,
Okay.
And so we're when we get those things finalized, I'm going to approach him again and see. And plus, we're also moving to our room next door, which has a lot of space, and then we'll have a bigger band.
All right. Right on.
But that's one thing. I was just talking to a friend of mine, like the best drummer I ever played with, the first drummer I ever played with. He's this really hot fusion drummer. I mean, he could do anything, and I never played with another drummer that could. I know it's all downhill from him. Fuck man, that sucks. It's like that. Yeah, like every drummer that I meet, I've had some expectations, and they're good drummers. But just really just sour. It ruined me.
Right on.
Unless we find another fusion drummer, maybe.
So since you're going to be waiting for them 5 shows, are there any plans for maybe doing getting into recording studio and doing an album? You doing a full length album or just an EP or?
Well, we've got a lot of songs, and what we're doing is we're trying to release as many as we can, one after another. We're not going to do like 12 to 14 song album. I don't think that's really the way to do it anymore. I mean,
It really isn't. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like just to be able to keep on top of it. We've got a release coming on January 8th, and then the next month after that, like a month and a half or so, John's got a song that he's written and that we're recording, and we'll release that, and then we've got more. We just got tons down the pike. I mean, we got lots. I mean, it's all a matter of.
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that. Especially with the way social media is now, people's attention spans are just nil anymore. So if you have a bunch of songs and just periodically releasing a new song every like 6 weeks or so, it keeps them coming back because if you don't have fresh material that you're putting out there online, then people are just going to lose interest and they're going to move on to something else. And but that's what I've been telling most of the artists is like if you can put out a new song like every 6 weeks or so, maybe in between you drop a lyric video or something like that, just to kind of keep them coming back, then you're way ahead of the game right now.
Although if there's an A&R rep and he wants to give us half his money so he can spend 3 years writing an album, I'm in.
That's the dream. That's the dream. I hear you.
Yeah.
Hopefully someday we'll have those type of people watching the shows. So we're working on that. We're baby steps here. Actually, we haven't really been doing the show that awful long, but it's really starting to pick up steam and getting a lot of publicity. It started. I just asked the people that were doing my links on the daily stream. I was like, "What more could I do to help you?" And they're like, "Oh, why don't you try a vlog?" And I was like, "How about we just do a whole podcast on it, and we'll just do it like that." And doing it like this is one way, but I want to be able to eventually stop doing my day job and be able to get out on the road when people are actually performing and hit up some shows and do a live one where we're all in the same room together and things like that. And
Yeah, and we could play.
yeah, you guys will be able to play on there and stuff because it's hard to get especially if you have a band and if you have some bands are larger bands where they have 8, 9 people in them because they got the whole like Chicago setup going on, which is great, but it's hard to fit everybody on camera on a small one.
Yeah.
As we see here, you guys got 3 people right there, and and if you're not shifting back and forth, then we're only seeing the guy in the middle. So
Maybe because
so so at this time, you guys have like a merch store or anything like that set up now?
well, we do have a website now. We do have our shirt that's available. We have a link that's available, but that's all we got.
Okay, well, this is the portion of the show where you can shamelessly plug all your websites that you want, and I'm more than happy to let you do that. So, if you want to give everybody your websites and what social media platforms you want them to follow you on, go right ahead.
Ginger, go ahead and tell me.
Well, okay, so like Alexis was talking about, we've got some really groovy band T-shirts that you can buy on our website, hellsoasis.net, and we're on all the social media platforms. Not Twitch, not Twitch yet, but we're on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and of course all the streaming platforms, Spotify and Pandora and Apple and all that stuff too. So you could, I mean, just Google us and we'll pop right up. We're
Okay.
everywhere. Yep. And so, yeah, and so we are. You were talking about the difference in focus because of the pandemic and kind of having to go inward, right? So it's been an opportunity to develop our presence through social media a lot more than we probably would have otherwise been doing. We probably would have been focusing more on live performances, which is so much more fun.
Absolutely, I completely understand that.
But that's not the world that we're living in right now. So we're making do with what we've got right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're developing a presence online as best we can. So. And when you asked about any streaming performances, Alexis was saying that we did something for a charity. It was actually Make-A-Wish Foundation. Yeah, so
that's great, outstanding.
Yeah.
So, with the social media, because it's going to open up at areas that you probably would have never even thought about opening. I mean, you're no longer just a Pittsburgh band, you're a global band now.
Absolutely. I mean, here we are, we're talking to you, and you're in
Kansas City, yeah.
Kansas City, right? And we've got, friends through social media in Vienna and in Austin, Texas, and Tulsa, and what now?
Spotify had the year-end in review, and we have a hotspot in Central Russia, like Central Siberia.
Exactly.
Like there's like a whole bunch of people listening to us.
If you actually take time and look at the analytics from these sites, they'll tell you where your followers are located, and you're just sitting there and you're like, holy crap! I didn't know that we were going to be that big in India, or
Uzbekistan.
And in Poland, I mean, half our streams are coming from Poland. And a lot of people have done that. I've told them, I was like, check your analytics out and see where your followers are coming from and who's streaming your stuff. And they're coming back to me and they're just like, you know what? I had no idea I was going to be that big in Australia. and or Japan or wherever. And I was like, just give it time. You're going to see a lot of changes, and you're going to see a lot of hot spots pop up like that. And I mean, it may not mean much right now, but if you ever do get a chance, say you have in Eastern Europe, you have 5 or 6 different hot spots. You're like, all right, well, maybe we can get a tour going on and hit those spots, and people
Right.
already know who you are. All right, so
Right.
it'll be a problem selling tickets for those locations.
Shit, I'll write a song in Russian.
Yeah,
Right.
play Russia.
And that is sort of happening, where I'm in communication with a band in Austin, but I also recently met a country band in East Texas, and we've been communicating back and forth, and they're like interested in coming up to Pittsburgh, and I'm like, hey man, you can stay with us when things open back up and things are safe.
Hmm.
Maybe you can stay with us, and then we could stay with you. When
Yeah,
when we kind of
yeah.
want to come down to Austin. So
Is
we'll
it
see how it all goes. But it's kind of cool to be laying the groundwork for these possibilities.
And that, yeah, like I said, I wanted to build that community up to where people could meet other bands and stuff like that, because I know, especially as indie artists, you don't have the big money flow coming in. And
Mhm.
if you got friends now that are in cities that you're going to be stopping in, maybe they can help you out, put you up or whatnot, and help you out that way. And also, uh, I like it because music in 2020 is kind of, I don't really know how to say this really well, but when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, you had definite genres of music. I mean, you knew who the country people were, who the rock people were, jazz and stuff.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot more of intertwining of the different genres of music, and it's becoming more just music than it is separate genres, if that makes sense.
And new genres.
Yeah, in new
Yeah,
genres.
there's whole, I mean, Abid listens to a genre of music I didn't even know about until a couple of weeks ago. What's it called? Abid,
It's called Jen.
Jim?
Uh,
Jim.
And yeah. So,
And it's based on the sound that your fingers make when you're rhythmically strumming the bass strings, correct?
yeah, I'm so happy you remember that. Yeah,
It's like when you're sitting at a drop notes, especially, right?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's like
yeah.
that's where it comes from.
And some of the cross collab work that people are seeing, I mean, even if you don't do like a collaborative where you guys are generally or just collaborate on writing and stuff, and I've heard some amazing ideas coming up from places that they never really thought of before until they started meeting new people and started talking and stuff, and then they're like, wait a minute, yeah, is everybody's they're songwriters. I mean, they play different style of music than you do, but they're still songwriters. They're still musicians. So getting that extra, I don't know, just influence,
Yeah.
kind of adds that. Speaking of influences, what are some of Hell's Oasis's major influences in the music?
I'll let y'all take that.
That's
Go ahead, guys.
because I mean, our band, Adi and I myself have joined the band recently, and we've kind of all have very different influences. We found out, like we don't like as individuals, we have very different backgrounds. So personally, me, I mean, I'm a saxophone player. I grew up, in a high school band setting, so like jazz was really big in my background. I spent a lot listening to older jazz guys like Charlie Parker, John Coltrane, Stan Getz, guys like that, and I've kind of like developed into found out that I like a lot of the R&B stuff, Grover Washington Jr. Um, and like I grew up like listening to Kenny G actually, not so much anymore, but he was actually a big influence, and especially his older stuff before before you got a little commercial. So that's kind of my background, but that's me. So we have a lot of other things too that these guys will talk about.
I don't know any of the people he mentioned, so that's I didn't know that was the influences are. I know Kenny, but I know the Kenny
The
G
one
that you
you
don't
take
like.
out of all those guys.
Yeah, that's
Sorry,
There you go.
unfortunate.
he's
Um,
still.
yeah, I bring. So I come from Bangalore in India, which is like the metal capital of the country there, and I grew up like binging Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer. Eventually moved on to like death metal, progressive death metal, and progressive rock, and plenty of that. So I guess I bring the metal voice to the band in a way, at least during our jam sessions and everything. But I do have like a good knowledge of classic rock. I don't know, like once in a while when someone mentions the song, I'm like, oh yeah, I know that one. So just like another, prong the fork in band influence kind of thing.
Yeah, and I grew up standard Midwest, Zeppelin. I was raised as a cellist and a pianist initially, and so I did get a good chunk of classical early on in my life. But then by the time I was a teenager, I just wanted to play lots of guitar. And so I did play a decent amount of like Iron Maiden and 80s band stuff. And then in the 90s, I started playing a little bit more. I put a lot more funk in the 90s and added a couple of extra genres. But yeah, I mean, I love all kinds of music. It's really, I love the Beatles, one of my favorite bands.
How about you, Ginger? What was some of your influences?
Oh, lots of different influences. I mean, uh,
Halen,
it's some of it's a little embarrassing, like Barbara Streisand and Helen Reddy. I mean, that's a little embarrassing, but
Why?
I don't know, just because it's so old. But I listen to I listen to a lot of Beth Hart is a big is somebody I listen a lot to right now. Larkin Poe I've started listening to. I like K Flay, but Robert Plant. I mean, Led Zeppelin. I was very influenced by Led Zeppelin.
Hey, and just because they're old doesn't mean.
Well, yeah, it's just it's
Hey,
like
if
it's
you want
not
to put
it's not cool
Robert
like
Johnson
Ella
on,
Fitzgerald. So like I also listen to Ella Fitzgerald, right?
yeah,
And Aretha Franklin. But they're kind of cool old. But if I'm really honest, I started off listening to Barbara Streisand and Helen Reddy.
nothing wrong with that at all. I was like I said, if you want to put Robert Johnson on and let him play some blues, I'll sit there and listen to you, and
Right.
that's pretty old, and
Yeah, it
it's way
is.
before my time. But I'm a connoisseur of music, so I just like music. So anybody that can play, sing, whatever, I'll sit around and I'll listen to them. And good musicians are good musicians, regardless of how old they are.
Right, right.
So, all right, we've all went through, talked about you got these songs, the group of songs that you're gonna be recording and releasing periodically, and your 5 shows. What is more of your long term plans going towards the latter part of next year after the 5 shows?
non-stop releasing. We'll just keep releasing. We've got lots of material, so we'll just keep doing it. Uh, and if our promotion continues the way it has, it's actually very encouraging. We're getting a decent amount of streams, and I'm hoping that we will be maybe at the next level. Maybe we'll have enough songs released, enough momentum that perhaps if things open up, perhaps we can think about something, not, I don't know about you guys, but I would love to do a small tour. I don't care where, that'd be awesome. I mean, locally would probably make more sense, to initially, but you know, I'm not gonna take anything off the table, that's for sure.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, doesn't it?
Anybody else with any want to chime in?
We could be releasing these songs every 6 weeks, and then we just get some momentum. We play our shows here, we get a little bit of momentum locally, and that could catapult into something. That would be where they would actually ask us to play someplace. I'd love to do a headline festival, open for everything.
I think we're at a good pace right now because we're releasing a lot of things. We're having scheduled to release a lot of songs, but we're also creating a lot of stuff right now. We got about 6 or 7 songs that we've been actively collaborating on, and I think when these releases that are going to be heading out soon, when that all dries up, we're going to have a whole new material to keep on releasing. So I think we're in good shape in terms of new releases and new material.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's a question, and all four of you can have a different answer. But all right,
And we usually do.
say you are invited out to tour with somebody.
Yeah.
Who would be your dream band to open for at this point in time?
That's a tough
That's
one.
a tough one. Yeah, because I would be willing to step into any situation, but of course that would mean radically changing the music, maybe, because it depends on who the band is. We want to be the right fit. Who would be a good fit for us? That's a good question. I haven't thought about like a big band that's popular right now. Oh man.
Your guys' choice. You can pick a band. Doesn't matter if they're popular right now, or it could be a band that you idolized growing up or whatnot that is still playing. I mean, we still got a lot of these older.
I love Billy. I would love to open up for him.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, Square concert.
Actually, we would work with Billy Joel. Our music would be okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
With
with the sax section, we can, and of course we can always tone it down or tone it up depending on.
But that's they all know. They probably think I'm ridiculous. I
don't know if Billy Joel's going to be doing any touring, but
well, he does. He's been. I mean, I don't know about this year, but he was doing the. He's kind of like a resident in Madison Square Garden. He does a few of the statements.
Yeah, he does a few shows there at Madison Square Garden, but still, being able to play with Billy Joel would. That's. I mean, there's going to be people in the stands.
That'd be a little out of control. I don't know. I think we would make be a great opening band for Alabama Shakes. Myself,
I think we could do
I think that would be a good fit for us.
But they're not together anymore.
Right. Okay. And I just discovered another band that I like, but I found out that they've been disbanded for 10 years. And Abi probably knows them. I'd never heard of them. Mudvayne. I think we'd open great for Mudvayne.
Mudvayne. I've actually seen Mudvayne.
No, we would not open. That would not be a good match.
But
But you've seen Mudvayne?
Yes, I have seen Mudvayne. We have actually here in Kansas City. We until this year we have a one-day rock festival. And they have a main stage and they have a second stage. And I've seen Mudvayne play at that rock festival. It's an all-day affair. It starts at like 10 o'clock in the morning, goes till midnight. And so,
Love
I've seen a lot of really good bands there.
I'm thinking of whether it would be suitable for the band. Just like I don't know, for Metallica, so I can hang out with them backstage.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah. They have great light stage setup is always so like larger than life. It's great. We are able to perform in one of those 360 sets. Run around
the stage. Get up real close to the audience. Oh man, that'd be awesome. Yeah,
I
Ginger.
missed, I missed it.
What'd you say?
Who? I missed who you said. Who?
Metallica.
Metallica.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, I've actually seen Metallica live a couple of times, and you know, they they have a way of changing their style too over time.
yeah.
They've changed how they've performed music and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I mean, they're still Metallica, but you can definitely hear the changes in their music as they've went along. And I was actually when they used to do the VH1 behind the music things, I was watching one on Metallica one time, and this was in the late '90s, and everybody was calling them sellouts and stuff like that. And Hatfield was on there. He's like, "You're right, we are sellouts everywhere we go, all around the world."
Right.
And so you know, and people criticize bands for changing up like that. Like, I've never heard so many people be down on like, oh, who was it? Oh, and I had it on the tip of my tongue, but they're a fairly newer band from the early 2000s and stuff. Nickelback.
Nickelback. Yeah.
A lot of people criticize Nickelback. I've seen Nickelback live. Great show. They sell hundreds of thousands of records. Obviously, somebody's listening to them.
Yeah.
Amount of criticism that they get, I was like, there's
We'll
that
talk
you
a lot
are so.
smack about Nickelback.
Yeah, I was like, so I mean, they're a great show, and I just don't see where people come off and can criticize someone who's dropping platinum records. They don't just hand those out to people.
Correct.
And so
It's
yeah.
got as big a fucking TV. I have no right. I mean, look how many albums.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can joke around about that, but he's doing better than I am. So
I mean, and yeah, you just stick at it and do your music your way, and you're gonna have, no matter who you are. It doesn't matter. You can name any artist you want to, and I can guarantee you, I can find someone who criticizes them.
Well, that's an interesting thing about Nickelback. I guess, do they write their own stuff, or do they have producers write their own stuff? That would be my, like, a lot of people would say they'll write their first album, they have their whole life to write an album, right? And then they get big, and then but now they've got access to this room full of writers who write songs. So there's like 15 guys in the song. You can tell because it's like a little bit of pieces of all the other
Yeah, and
put together.
I mean,
That would be a sellout to me, but I don't think Nickelback does that, do they?
I don't think so. I think they still collaborate on their own stuff and write on their own stuff.
It would be interesting to know if there's like is there like a producer who comes in and goes, oh, it's your stuff, but here's a few songs that you can say that's yours. Do they do that, or do people just write their own things all the time? I don't know. That's a good.
Yeah, that's something that I wouldn't know, but
I know in pop that happens a lot.
yeah, well, you got most musicians did start out as songwriters to begin with. Willie Nelson's wrote more #1 hits for other people than he did for himself. So
Now that's a band I'd like to vote for. We would
Willie Nelson,
because we saw them 2019, and there were a bunch of bands before them that I was like, oh, we could do this.
yeah,
We would totally be able to vote for Willie Nelson. Absolutely. I would
and
love it.
so
Can you imagine hanging out with Willie Nelson?
Oh my gosh, that would be so much fun.
No.
yeah, that would be
Stuck up. He goes out and hangs with them.
that would be a story in itself, just hanging out with him, let
Yeah.
alone getting to play with him in a concert. But yeah, just hanging out with him,
Yeah.
that'd be good enough for me. It's not often that you get to hang out with a legendary partier as well as musician at the same time. So, and especially someone who's greatly respected as Willie is. I mean, across a multitude of genres. You don't very well hear many people criticize Willie Nelson in any genre of music. But yeah, and he's wrote rock hits as well as country hits and gospel hits and all sorts of types of music. And you would actually be surprised if you went through his catalog of the songs that he's wrote that other people have made famous.
Yeah.
But you're like, oh, I had no idea that Willie wrote that. And yeah,
Great.
yeah, he's a very prolific songwriter. And yeah, but yeah, there's more than one way to make your mark on the music industry, and that's why it's so important nowadays to just get out there and meet as many musicians and songwriters and stuff that you can, producers, and because you never know which one's going to have an idea that could put you over the top. You know, I mean, because even though everybody hears the same song, they hear it differently.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And
Oh,
and getting different ideas from other people. I mean, some people don't like constructive criticism. I'm all for it. If they got something that can help me out, I'll give it a try. And if it works for me, then great. If not, then I'll move on to something else. And I would like to see more people like that. Some people just can't set aside their ego long enough to do that. But a lot of the bands that I've talked to, especially indie bands, really don't have the ego problem that some of the more mainstream ones develop once they become mainstream, which is really a reason that I like the indie bands as much as anything else.
Cool.
So, anything else that you guys would like to tell the audience? How did you guys come together as a band? Start with that. Go with that.
Ginger, why don't you talk about that a little bit?
okay. So Alexis and I were both in Austin a few years ago. And Austin at that time was considered the live music capital of the world because it had the most live venues per square mile of anywhere in the world. And Alexis was in a band that was playing around on 6th Street, and they needed a vocalist, so they put an ad in the paper, and I for a vocalist, and I responded and auditioned, and I got the job. And we played on 6th Street, which is Austin's equivalent of like Bourbon Street in New Orleans. And we did a little bit of playing around in Corpus Christi and San Marcos as well, but in Texas. Well, the band kind of broke up. Alex and I got married. And moved away, and we continued writing some songs and playing like coffee shops just as a duet, acoustic sets for a while. And then the technology got to a point where we could do recording sessions in our home. So we had like these 30 something songs that we had written and performed back in the day. And so we started recording an album, and we were almost ready to completely finish it and put it out there when I met John in my running group, and found out that he was a saxophone player, and some of our songs kind of have a disco funk feel and could have really benefited from horns. So we brought him in, and it was a good match. And so we're re-recording all those songs with saxophone now. Or actually now they've been recorded, right? They've all been recorded. So now we're releasing all those songs with saxophone. And we're beginning to play out a little bit. And then we looked for a bassist, and that's when we brought Abi on. So he's our newest band member. But he's been with us about a year, and John, I guess about a year and a half.
Yeah. We're the newbies.
Y'all are the newbies, but it has been over a year for both of you now.
I think like we, really added nicely, I think, and we have brought some different ideas and different layers and textures that I think it's really been great. It really has enhanced the sound.
Yeah, we got the dynamic going. Yeah.
And I, for one, in especially in rock, I like to have the saxophone in there. Matter of fact, I was just listening to the soundtrack to Eddie and the Cruisers the other day. If you ever seen the movie Eddie and the Cruisers from it was from like '85, but their band had a sax player in there, and it's just amazing. It adds an extra element to the music that you normally wouldn't think would fit in there, but when it's played, it just makes sense. You're like, wow, why didn't more people think of this before?
I mean, in the 80s, every sort of mainstream rock band had the saxophone player, didn't they?
In the earlier part of the '80s, you're right. They did like Huey Lewis and the News, and them. Most of them had a sax player in there, and they kind of got away with that when they moved more to the mid to the late '80s, and I kind of wish they would have stayed more with that sound because I really liked it, and
Let's go.
And background singers too. They used to have more background singers. I mean, they still have harmonies, but they used to have background singers, and they don't really have that anymore. I think what's kind of cool about us is if you just kind of look at each of us, so like Alexis has sort of this progressive rock, funk kind of background, and John has the jazz, what would you call it? Jazz and rock background. Abi has the heavy metal, death metal sort of background. And then I've got sort of this blues rock background. But it all really works. We bring these different elements together, and
you actually can hear it. You can hear it in your music. I mean, you can hear those different elements coming together, and it makes for some really good music. And for people that haven't listened to you guys yet, I encourage them to go out there and stream you guys and listen to it, because you guys bring it together nicely. I mean, you can definitely hear the different elements, and the way you guys bring it together is really cool. And I think a lot more people, the more you get out there and get people to hear it, then they're gonna really start vibing on it.
Cool.
Well, thanks.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, you guys have anything else you want to add tonight?
What's our next release? What's the date on that?
January 8th.
January 8th. Definitely hit me up, get it close to that, and we will. I'll push that out for you guys on social media and get that blasted out there for you too.
Thank you.
And if you guys one of you want to jump back on the show around that time, just to remind everybody, just DM me and let me know, and I'll clear a spot for you. I have no problems with anybody shamelessly plugging their music.
You talking about like a short little commercial?
Yeah, just say, hey, this is Ginger from Hell's Oasis. Just reminding everybody we got a song coming out. We'd appreciate it if you went out and pre-saved, or however, if you don't have a pre-saved, or just go out and listen to it. However you guys want to do it, I'm more than happy to do that. You just let me know, and I will set aside a portion of the show, or if you want, I can drop it in, and we could do it after the main interview's over with whoever I got that night, and we could just add it at the end just before everybody goes, and
yeah, that'd be cool.
The video, yeah. I'll make sure you guys, when I get this video edited, we'll make sure you guys get a copy of it so you can share however you want to. out there. Post it on your websites. Doesn't really matter. Share it on social media, and we'll get that out there. Anything I can do to help you all, you just let me know. DM me. Right now, I'm a one-man operation, and I do have a day job, but I try to get as much work in as I can. I also, if you are interested, I have a written blog that I do. I can send you guys out a
I'm
questionnaire.
subscribed to that.
You do? I've kind of laxed on that for a while. I was doing good, and then my day job sent me to Poland for a month at the beginning of the year, and I kind of slacked off on it. And now I'm gonna revive it, and because I need to get as many platforms going as I can, and to help as many people out as possible. So we do have the blog. We'll have this, of course, all my different social media sites. Also, if you guys care, I don't know if you all can see behind me, but I got like 8x10 pictures of bands and artists. If you guys want, I can get you my address and you can sign one for me of the band and get it put up here behind. I'll even pay for it if I needed to. But yeah, if you guys want to get a photo, signed photo of you, the band, to put up here, that'll be in the background of these live streams. I'll be more than happy to do that, and just another way that I can help. I'll check out your T-shirts, try to get one of them ordered, and I like wearing different band shirts and stuff while I'm doing these. And I like I said, I have no problems plugging anybody. Anything I can do to help, every little bit helps. I mean, you never know who's going to say, "Man, that's an awesome shirt." Then they're looking up your website and ordering merch, which helps you guys out too. But I appreciate you all coming on. I wish you the very best of luck with your Radio Wigwam Awards this weekend, and I hope you win. With Unless you have anything else, I think we'll say good night. And if you need anything else, please DM me. You have my DM on all the social medias, so any of them will work.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks so much, Phil. It was great. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. It was outstanding. Anytime, like I said, anytime you want to come on the show, just let me know, and I'll make some time for you.
Wonderful. That sounds great. We'll be back in touch.
All right. Well, thank you all, and you all have a great night.
Okay,
All
you
right.
too.
Good.
Rock and roll.
See ya.
All right, everybody. That was Hell's Oasis. Please go out and check them out on all their sites. Stream some of their music. If you haven't heard them yet, they're a really good band, especially their song that's up for Song of the Year on Radio Wigwam. Make sure you get out there and stream it. Other than that, we will be back tomorrow night. We got another show. Actually, tomorrow night and we have another one on Friday. So we will see you later. You all have a good night.